Hi friends, I'm Amy from A Star Reads, and I'm gonna do a 48-hour readathon. Haven't done one yet, haven't even done a 24-hour readathon, but this weekend I need to get books read. This is my remaining November TBR. And I don't think that's gonna happen. So I was just kind of intending on reading as many books as I could during the next 48 hours, just so I could get sort of caught up before Thanksgiving, which is next week. However, I have been seeing all the fun that everybody has been having with the 1,000 Doors Readathon on vlog after vlog. I mean, everybody is doing this and everybody is having a blast, and I want to have a blast too. So even though the readathon was sort of supposed to be the first week of November, the host said you could really do it all throughout the month, and so I'm going to do 48 hours of it. I'm going to try and read 5 books within 48 hours. I don't know how that's gonna go, but my books will be chosen by the prompts for the 1,000 Doors Readathon, and I will be picking only books that are on my November TBR for a Digithon or Believeathon. So the 1,000 Doors Readathon is being hosted by Meg from Meg with Books, Emma from Drinking by My Shelf, and Tasmeen from Tea Books in Tasmeen. And they've done an amazing job of putting this together. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. It's sort of a choose your own adventure readathon. So you watch the first 3 videos, which are the videos that the hosts have put together, and each one has a prompt. So you can choose one of the 3 prompts, whichever one you decide to choose. Based on what happens when you read that first book, there'll be a question at the end of the video that makes you choose from another door. Whatever happens with the book from that door, you'll have another door to choose, and you continue choosing until you get through 5 books. So I've watched all of them, and I decided that I'm gonna go with the prompt from Meg with Books.
That's history.
And that is history. Thank you, Whitney. I'm gonna go with In the Footsteps of Crazy Horse by Joseph Marshall III. This is for my Believeathon. It's the next prompt I need to collect, which is the hand mirror. And the hand mirror, as you can imagine, vanity, is to pick a book that has a beautiful cover. And I really thought that this book was gorgeous. The artwork was really pretty on it, and it was bright colors. The reason it works for Whitney is because Crazy Horse was a very large and important part of American history. It's about this young boy who's Lakota. He spends time with his grandfather, listening to his grandfather's stories and sort of going on adventures. And one of the adventures they go on is, I'm guessing, an adventure that Crazy Horse probably went on, because it's in the footsteps of Crazy Horse. It just sounds heartwarming, and I can't wait to see what information they give us about Crazy Horse in here. So let's get this thing started.
This tea we actually picked up a couple years ago in Scotland at this place called Hetty's, and haven't opened it yet, so I think we have some Hetty's Perthshire tea.
So one thing I forgot to mention was that my readathon actually started at 6 p.m. on Friday, and it'll go for 48 hours, so it'll end on Sunday at 6 p.m. And that gives me a decent amount of time to read, except I'm starting to feel sleepy already. It was a long week. So I've got some tea steeping, and hopefully it'll pep me up enough to read a little more, because it is way too early to be going to sleep. Amy, what are you doing? My eyes are burning.
Look who it is. It's a little Cece girl.
You gonna help me read? Yawn. Okay, so I'm roughly halfway through. I've gotten to about right here. I'm at page 76. And I'm struggling a little with this book. And I realize what my issue is. I love storytelling, but a lot of the storytelling in this is very spatial, and when battle scenes happen, it's more about explaining where it happened in relation to everything else. It happened on this ridge, to the north of this, to the east of this, to the south of this. When we moved to the south, east, north, up to the right, up to the left. And so that element of description is not as engaging to me. I really like more of a description of, say, the setting, like the environment, what's going on in the environment, what's going on with the individual characters during this story. And that I'm not getting quite as much. It's not awful, it's not as engaging as I would like. I love learning and I love history, so I'm enjoying learning about Crazy Horse and Lakota history. It's just that the way that the stories are told is not my favorite. This might work for other people, but it's not quite the way I like to have settings described to me. Alright, so I just finished In the Footsteps of Crazy Horse, and the second half was definitely more enjoyable than the first half. I guess I wasn't really into the battle scenes as much. I like a little bit more of a personal connection, and I think that the second half gave you that a little bit more with Crazy Horse and with the grandfather and the grandson. So ultimately, probably a 3-star. I'm definitely going to have to think about it a little more, but for the next part of Thousand Doors Readathon, I need to choose a rating to go by to get my next prompt. So I'm going to say 3 stars for this.
The new prompt I'm going to give you is old and new.
Okay, so the next prompt I got was from Emma from Drinking by My Shelf. It is supposed to be taking the 2 words old and new. So I am gonna go with another Believe-a-thon book, and honestly, I'm making this easy on myself because I want to get through 5 books this weekend. So I'm picking Amazonia by Daniel Munduruku, and it's Indigenous Tales from Brazil. This is a book all about Amazonian folklore. It's a nice little short picture book. The reason that I feel this works perfectly for the old and new prompt is because these are all really old folklore stories that Daniel Munduruku is trying to preserve from these indigenous communities within the Amazon, and he wants to make sure that these stories are written down so that they're not lost to time. Also, I just bought this. I bought this not too long ago. It is my book. It was hard to come across. It was really hard to find a copy of this, and so I was excited to get it. And so it's new to me. I'm excited about this because I might be able to get my 5 books done. Okay, so I just finished Amazonia, and I enjoyed this. There were definitely stories in here that I really liked, and then others that I wasn't so crazy about, and then some that I felt about. I'm sure that there's a bit that's lost within the translation, that if I was actually there and hearing this story from someone who was speaking the language and I understood the language, they would probably be a little more cohesive. I felt like there were a few stories where the story kind of rambled on and changed from topic to topic pretty quickly. Ultimately, I enjoyed this. It was great to read these indigenous stories and learn a little bit more about stories that shaped these cultures. So it's time to go find out my next prompt and see what book I'm going to choose. I will choose tonight, but I'm not going to continue on. I need to go to sleep. It is past midnight and I can't keep my eyes open any longer. Okay, so the question for this is, was the story predictable? Did I figure out where it was going to go at the end, yes or no? And then, let's see. No, yes, but I didn't mind, yes, or DNF. So since this is a book with a whole bunch of stories in it, I'm going to pick what I think to be my favorite one, which was The Parrot Who Sings Craw Craw Craw. Now that I think back to it, I guess I should have known where it was going to go. But I didn't, so I guess I'm going to have to go with no.
Woo! You didn't guess the ending. Fantastic. Love that. The next prompt I'm going to give you is outside.
So my next prompt is outside, and I decided to continue on with Believe-a-thon because these middle grade books are really working out well for me for getting 5 books in 48 hours. So this one's a little longer though, not terribly long, but the writing's a little smaller. And it's The Barren Grounds by David Alexander Robertson. I've read 2 of his books so far this month. I read a graphic novel called 7 Generations, and then I've read a picture book called When We Were Alone. I'm really excited about this. It's about these 2 boys who are orphans and they end up in the same household. But they're struggling to feel connected to the community, they're struggling to connect with other people. And so they find this closet, I think in the basement or something like that, which they go through and they end up in a different land, a different place. They meet this hunter, and he's the hunter that's trying to feed his community. He's the only person that hunts, and he's trying to feed the community, but they're running out of food. And so these two boys are trying to help the hunter hunt, and in the process they're learning more about themselves, their own culture, working together to support a community, and they have to try and help this hunter save the community. And it looks like the hunter is a bear guy. But it sounds interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. This one will actually give me the clue, the chain, which is to read a book that has a colorful cast of characters in it. These guys seem like they're pretty darn unique, so I think it should be at least an interesting group of characters. The reason I chose this for outside is because, I mean, in this picture they're outside. And if these orphans are outside hunting, I imagine that the setting is mostly outside. Good morning. I am awake, but I'm tired. I went to bed, but then I actually stayed up for a little bit longer and started reading The Barren Grounds, which I can tell I'm going to enjoy this book. At least I'm really starting to enjoy it so far. I was wrong. It's not about two boys. It's about Morgan, who's a girl, and Eli, who's a boy. She's older, he's younger. She's been in the foster system for a long time, and as you can imagine, she's dealing with a lot of anger. Eli, this is his first home he's ever been in. He's struggling because he's nervous, he's scared. We don't know yet why either of these kids were put in the foster system. He loves to draw. He's a great artist, and he carries this pad of paper around with him wherever he goes that his father gave to him before he was put in the foster system. I wouldn't say that they are friends yet, or maybe they're becoming friends, but Morgan's sort of looking out for Eli because he reminds her of what she was like when she was brand new to the foster system. The two people that are fostering them, they're really just almost too cheesy, too excited. They want to make both Morgan and Eli happy, but Morgan's pissed. She doesn't want them to try so hard because, she doesn't really think this is permanent, and they aren't her parents, so they need to stop trying to pretend to be, is what she's kind of getting at the moment. But, I just started. I'm like 25 pages in, so this is brand new. I'm really enjoying David Alexander Robertson's writing style, and I'm engaged. I like the characters so far, and I just think I'm going to enjoy this. I think this is going to be a good one. Are you comfortable, little miss? Look at that leg.
Favorite girl's lap? Of course she is. Oh, I told Jordan yesterday, I says,
Okay, so I'm about page 73, and I'm still loving The Barren Grounds. Right now I have to take a break because we have this group of friends that likes to get together on Zoom, and every other weekend we chat on Saturday mornings. So we've got our little Zoom get-together now. We've been working on cleaning up the house because of Thanksgiving coming up this week, and we've been putting it off too long. So taking little teeny breaks to clean the house, now to talk to friends, but I'm getting reading in between, and hopefully I can get through Barren Grounds today. That's my game plan. And I'm enjoying it so much that I don't think it'll be a problem. Are you comfortable there? In your little bed, on a bed, under a bed? Okay, so I'm back to reading. I'm at about page 129, and at this point, Eli and Morgan have gone through the portal into the other world. Eli had drawn a picture, and it became a portal. And within the portal, it's really wintry. There's blizzards and storms everywhere. There's snow all over the place. And they run into this guy named Ochek, who's actually a fisher, which is a type of animal. But what makes Ochek unique is that he walks on two legs and he can talk like a human. And he is the main hunter for the town of Misiwa, which is where he's from. This blizzard time, which he calls the white time, has been going on for like years. So all the food has ran out, there's hardly any animals to capture, and Eli and Morgan are staying there for another week to try and help him find more food. And in the process, they're learning how to hunt, and they're learning some survival techniques. I'm loving this book. It's the best of the ones I've read for this 48-hour readathon so far. Quick thing to point out is that there is LGBTQIA plus representation in here. One of his small side characters in here, the owl, is non-binary, and it was pretty interesting to find that out within the stories. I really like seeing books books that have that level of inclusiveness in it, and especially a middle grade book. All right, so it's 8:41 and I have finished The Barren Grounds, and it was so good. I really enjoyed this. I would have had it done a little bit sooner tonight, but it was my friend's birthday and they were doing a socially distanced fire pit. So I went out there and enjoyed the fire for a little while, sang happy birthday to my friend, gave her a gift, and then came back home because I had like 10 pages left. But it was so good. The characters are fantastic. It's very easy to get into. There were a few parts that were a little slower moving, but not much. This was just really well written. Probably one of the better books I've read in November so far. So definitely a big fan of The Barren Grounds. If you get a chance to pick this up, I think it's pretty new. It was just released here in I think September 2020. So it's a brand new book and I recommend it if you're into middle grade fantasy. Now it's time to find out what prompt 4 is. I'm doing pretty good. This is turning out well. I'm so excited. So the question I have to answer to get to the 4th door is, do I like the main character? And as I've already told you, I loved Morgan. She was the main character of this book, and she was probably my favorite character of the whole story. So yes, I liked the character, and so I'm gonna go through the yes door.
So the meme for this prompt
Uh-oh, here we go.
I'm an acquired taste. You don't like me? Acquire some taste.
I love that meme.
Okay, I am an acquired taste. If you don't like me, acquire some taste. This one is tricky, so I'm gonna have to get creative. Okay, so I have made my decision, and let's hope it doesn't ruin my 5 books in 48 hours thing I've got going, because I was doing pretty darn good. This is my 4th book. To interpret this prompt, what I decided to do was to pick the book on my TBR that had the lowest rating. It's not loved as much as the other books were, so I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna read Kojawiya, The Half-Blood by Morning Dove. And this one was interesting because it was one of the first romance novels that was written by a Native author. She's mixed, Native and I think Eastern European or something along those lines. But this woman had a strong tie to her culture, but she also really loved old romance novels. She liked Western romance novels. So I'm gonna give it a try. This book was written in the 20s actually, so it's an older book. The font is kind of small. It's not too long, but like I said, the font is a little small, and it got a pretty low rating. 3.18 I think is what it got. So you never know, I could love it. It could be my next favorite book. You never know. Hopefully I can continue reading 5 books in 48 hours. Don't hold me back. Making a nice easy little dinner of Madras lentils. And if you've never had them, I got them at Costco. They're amazing. They taste just like chili, but it's just lentils with a little low carb tortilla. And I'm gonna throw an egg on top of that. Beautiful dinner. Beautiful. And this is like the perfect 48-hour marathon dinner because the lentils take like a minute and a half to heat up. The egg's really quick to cook. Through that, toasted it a little bit. Like 5-minute dinner. So easy. So this original story was written in 1927, and this book itself is a 1981 reprint of that first book. From this introduction that I'm reading, Morning Dove had been kind of working on this manuscript, and she was having difficulty editing it and putting it together for publication. So she had met this man named, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Lucullus, Lucullus, Virgil McWhorter. And I think that they started a friendship, and he started helping her with her book, and that's where their relationship with this book went. There is a lot of influence by McWhorter. And what's interesting about this book, because I got it used, is that somebody put little notes in the margin and stuff like that. The little parts, they say like certain sections were written by McWhorter. Little sections that say, this says like, all epigraphs placed in the novel by McWhorter. His insistence on a tragic ending for the novel. So I'm curious where he got his information. And so that's why I kind of went back to the introduction because I hadn't read it. Good morning, it's Sunday and it's about 9 a.m. How many hours do I have left? 9 hours left of my readathon. I am only on page 41 of Kojawiya. I feel like this isn't a great book to read for a 48-hour readathon. And I'm having a hard time engaging with it. I don't think it's that I'm not enjoying it. It's just that it's not the right time for me to be reading this. And I usually am a stickler about making sure I get through something before I start something else. I don't mean books, but I mean like challenges. But I think I'm actually going to put this down for now and pick my 5th prompt, read that, and when I'm finished with that, then I can pick this back up. And you know what? I get to read whatever the heck I want this weekend. So I guess I have to say that I DNF'd this because for this readathon, the 1,000 Doors readathon, I did not finish this. But I will come back and I will read this because I own it and I do want to read it. There's a lot of things I have to say about this, for sure. But I'm just not in the mood to read it right now.
And the meme for this prompt is...
And I immediately scratch my head and I wonder, where's God when you need him?
So I think for this you should pick a book which is going to make you cry or feel very sad.
Okay, so a book that's going to make me sad. I'm actually going to go with There by Tommy Orange because I've heard that this is a very compelling story and it's talking about the plight of Native Americans within the urban setting because there are 12 characters that are going to this big powwow in Oakland, California. They have hardships they've been facing. They have struggles, and I'm assuming that coming to the powwow, they're going to find a certain level of healing. I mean, that is definitely a subject that could easily make me cry. So I think that this will be a great book. I'm really excited to read it. I feel like it's a better book for 48-hour readathon. I'm feeling a little bad about putting Kojawea down for now, but I just need to let it go. Need to let it go. Don't hold on, Amy. So it's about 3 in the afternoon on Sunday, and I've got about 3 hours left to read. I'm on page, I think, 83 of There, and I'm enjoying it so far. The stories are different because they're all different people. They're urban natives that live within the Oakland area. And at this point, you're kind of just learning a little bit about their lives. Each section is a different character. I think I already learned about 4 or 5 characters. At some point, I imagine they make their way to the big Oakland powwow at the Coliseum. This morning was really nice because I had a Zoom call with Liz from For Booking Out Loud. We were buddy reading The Mongrels. This was our last buddy read get together. And it's just so much fun chatting with her about books. And we talked about other stuff too, but she is so much fun, and it's been really nice to have someone to share book discussions with. So I'm sure we'll get to do more buddy reading together in the future. I really hope so because I like chatting with her. I like her perspectives about books, and it was just fun. We just had a lot of fun chatting. It's nice to get to know new people. Reading's going not so quickly. I am also trying to clean the house because, like I said, we have some plans for Thanksgiving, so trying to get things clean around here, and that's going slowly, a little bit here and there. I definitely won't get There done in the next 3 hours, but I'm going to keep trying, keep working towards it, and it's been a really fun 48 hours. I've read 3 books so far. I'm on my 4th one. That's pretty darn good. And There is proving to be the perfect book to read for a readathon. It's just, it kind of flows better with the other books that I was reading versus Kojawea, which is a little different, a little more dense. It's Sunday, so Sundays are always kind of those days where you don't want to think too hard. Anyways, I'm enjoying my day. It's not raining today, but it's really gray and overcast, so it's kind of nice to just be inside reading and enjoying my Sunday, relaxing with the heater on, and I've got some orange spiced tea in my Sword in the Stone mug. And it feels good. I feel relaxed. I feel overwhelmed. This week has been overwhelming. And then next week there's a lot going on too. So I'm not feeling slumpy when it comes to books, but I'm just feeling like I've been reading so much lately that it's kind of like what happened in October where I got a little burnt out towards the end of the month. And all my ambitions for getting certain books finished sort of went away. There's definitely going to be a ton of books on my November TBR that aren't going to get read. And you know what? I'm okay with that because I got a lot read this month and I feel like I fulfilled my intention really well this month. I fulfilled the intention of reading books from Native authors, and it was very valuable. Learning about how the Native perspective adds to a reading experience was important because there are certain themes that are a lot more prominent in Native writing than in a regular Western mainstream writing. Other than that, it's been fun doing a 48-hour readathon. I don't know how often I will try to do these because 48 hours is a bit much. I could see doing the 24-hour readathon, but I started losing steam last night. It was fun though, and it's a great way to get a couple books read because I got 3, and I'm working on the 4th. I am mostly done with Custard Died for Your Sins, so I should get that done in the next couple of days. And then, like I said, this next week's going to be really busy, and then it's December, so I don't know how much more reading I will get done within the next week and a half. Okay, so it is 6 p.m. and I have finished my 48-hour readathon. I finished 3 books, so I feel good about that. In the Footsteps of Crazy Horse, Amazonia, and The Barren Grounds. And I am about halfway through in There. Some page 127, about halfway. Some of the stories I like more than others, meaning like some of the characters' stories I'm enjoying more than I enjoy others. Each one is very separate, except you're starting to see how these relationships are intertwined, like how they know each other or how they relate to each other. And I do like that. I like seeing how their spheres are beginning to come together. I ended up stopping for a little while and chatting with my friend, which was really nice. It was good to catch up with her. So it was really cool because I got through all 1,000 Doors reading prompts. I didn't finish all 5 books, but it was really fun to be able to play along with that and decide which book I was going to read next based off the prompts that came from that readathon. Let me know in the comment section down below one of your favorite books that you read this month. I would definitely say that The Barren Grounds, which I read yesterday by David Alexander Robertson, was fantastic. I really loved it. It's not my favorite this month, but it's pretty darn close. It was a really good middle grade fantasy book. I can't wait to pick up the next book. I don't know when he's coming out with the next book, but hopefully it won't take too long. If you enjoyed my 48-hour readathon, click the like button and subscribe right now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.